Hello, Mr. Copti. Thanks for being here. We are les Pipelettes du Concorde, a group of young cinephiles who like to meet here to discuss about new movies in advance together. So we have seen your movie last week, Happy Holidays, and we have a few questions for you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'll be delighted to answer your questions, and I'm super happy to see such a young generation that is truly interested in films that are not mainstream, art house, different from different countries, different cultures. So yeah, well done.
Thank you so much. So our first question is, before talking about the film, could you tell us what led you to cinema? What made you want to become a screenwriter and director?
Yeah, I think since I was a kid, I was drawn into storytelling, making people laugh. I was the clown of my class, as you can tell. And this brought me a lot of joy. Not the performance itself, but being able to be creative, using words, cameras, body movement. Uh, but you know, life works differently, and sometimes without noticing, you're pushed to become something else, not through any violent mean. Actually, just like in the film, with love and care. I studied. I was very good in math and physics, and everybody was like, "Okay, this will be the first engineer of the family, and then this will be the first person to go to this very exclusive engineering school." And I ended up in engineering school. So I studied uh, mechanical engineering for 4 years, but I felt a change when something happened. So my cousin was uh, supposed to was married, and I was his best man. And then I was already doing a internship in a company, and I asked my boss, "Can I just? I need to go for a whole week because a Palestinian marriage is a whole week." And he goes like, "Sure, you can go." I said, "But we have this deadline for this project." And he goes like, "Yeah, but we'll get someone to do it." So what do you mean you get someone? I've been working on this for a year. He goes like, "Yeah, I mean it's just a microprocessor. I mean anyone can do it." And I think it's here when I started thinking about it. It's like I need something more unique to me, a say that I say, and not programming or coding that anyone can do. And I think this was the point where I decided to finish my studies. It was the last year, and just go back to do something that has to do with me saying things, with me trying to influence, create creatively stuff. So I went to work in a restaurant for 4 years, and there I started doing short films, and then my first feature, and yeah, and this is how it went. So it's not like a clear thing. It's life that leads you, and you have to trust where you go, because there's always a reason for why you end up in such a way.
Okay, very interesting. Uh, I mean it. Could you tell us about the writing process for your film and what inspired you to adopt such a unique narrative structure?
So I have a very simple process of writing, which I also teach. It starts with what I would call an annoyance, so something that bothers you. It could be anything, but you don't understand it. You don't understand how is it affecting your life, but still in your guts here you feel that it's wrong, something is off, and from it you develop what I call, a philosophy. So why do you want to do this work? Why do you want to write the screenplay without even having still, an idea of what the story is about? And then you start fishing stories that you maybe heard or that you can quickly invent. In this case, the film started with a story I heard. It's the story of Shirley, if you remember. So someone told me this story. I wrote it down, it fit my philosophy, and then I started writing other characters. And then it felt for me that the world was divided into good and bad, to protagonist and antagonist. And it just, in a way, defeated the purpose of me making this film, because I had a clear philosophy why I want to make it. And that didn't fit with this philosophy. So I started looking into how can I make it in such a way where I don't divide the world into good and bad. So the only way to do it is to only have protagonists. right? And the only way to have only protagonists is to tell one film with one protagonist, but I have already four. So I decided to tell four chapters, each of one protagonist at a time. And this protagonist becomes your, the character that you relate to, that you develop empathy towards, and then they might do something awful, something that you disagree with. But in you, it creates this dissonance, it's like, wait a second. So they did this, I disagree with this. Does it make them good? Does it make them bad? And it makes us reflect on our way of dealing with values, morality, and the understanding of life in general. So this is, in short, how I decided to follow this structure.
Okay, thank you. You talk about being unique, and the least we can say is that your film is truly unique. And we are wondering, what were the works, like movies or books or anything that inspired you to do this movie?
Yeah, I think I'm inspired by so many things that I cannot, point my finger toward one thing. And they say, I mean, I read it somewhere, it's not me, that this is originality. Originality is when you stop distinguishing what really inspired you. But I think, when I specifically wrote this thing, I was very much into two things, I would say. I was very much into Asghar Farhadi's films, all of them. So I've been watching them a lot. About Ellie, Separation, Firework Wednesday, everything he did, even the past that I liked very, very much. And I was very much into, suddenly, I don't know how, it came back to me, to Pink Floyd. The band, yes. I have a lot of records of Pink Floyd, but I haven't listened to them for years. And I came back to it, and there was something very unique in my understanding of of this music again. And I think I don't know how to link it, but sometimes when I was writing, I could feel that I was following, some kind of a tune. I mean, I know it's nonsense, but for me at least, this is how it worked. So it's the combination of those two things. And I had a very clear idea of what I wanted to achieve. Not story-wise. Story-wise, I always, I blue sky. I just try this, try that. But in terms, yes, I knew the ending, absolutely. I knew she's going to stand there. I'm not going to tell it, or I will tell it. Exactly, I've seen it. I didn't have a clear location where it's going to be, but I saw the ending already. And yeah, I went for it.
Thank you. And you talked earlier about the characters a little bit, and we were curious about the method you developed, the single drama, and the casting process. Can you tell us?
Yes, sure. I work with non-professional actors, and I cast them based on their real-life profession. So I'll give you an example. So in the film, Walid is a real doctor. And the lawyer is a real lawyer, and the psychiatrist, the real estate agent, the waiter, the taxi driver, everybody, basically. They come from their profession in life, and they bring with them this profession. So profession is not only what you do, it's your identity. It's your terminology. It's how you talk. It's how you understand life. You understand life through the prism of, mental health. If you're a psychiatrist, you understand life through the prism of law and order. If you're a lawyer, or of everything, right? And I think it's a very big part of our identity, profession. I mean, sadly, this is how it works. Our world, like, what do you do? And you will say, I'm a teacher, right? So it's not who are you, it's what do you do. So this has become a big part of our identity. So I choose them based on this profession. Basically, I work with a lot of people for every group. If I wanted a nurse, I would invite 50 nurses, divide them into two groups, and work with them for 2 months and do role plays with them. Improvisations, very simple. And through those improvisations, I get to figure out what is the material they're made of, what is their personality. if they can develop empathy quickly, if they have a short fuse, or if they believe that, I don't know, we shouldn't eat animals, if this is interesting for my film. And I choose, let's say, with Miri, and I saw there's this woman that, you know, has the characteristics of my Miri, very close, not exactly. And with Walid, the doctor, from all the doctors I had, so this guy that is very charismatic, you fall in love with him quickly. And with Fifi is this very interesting personality, maybe a little bit different than what I've written, but it could work. And then I cast the people I want from all those big groups and workshops, and I build relationships between them. So relationship and past history, just a day before we start, the story starts, right? So if there's a conflict between the two of you, because in the past you took money from her and never returned it and lied about it, I will create it in the form of the improv, because it's relevant for my film. And then you remember it as an experience that happened between the two of you. And then I start shooting the film chronologically, just like you here, with 2 cameras, which makes it much, much easier for me to edit. There's no blocking. There's no placement. Blocking means like where to place the people vis-a-vis the camera and vis-a-vis each other. I just let them loose, you know, just like in a documentary. 2 cameras handheld with 2 camera people. I talk to the camera people in an earpiece because they're using zoom lenses. I say, like, give me a close-up on him. Camera 2 open up on the 3 of them. Now camera 2 switch on her. Camera 1 stay on him, or something like that. And I never give them a screenplay. And it's just the whole film is improvised. I create and manipulate situations, give with objectives, and create obstacles that are not aware of. And this creates the story and it progresses. Yeah, I know I was very quick. It's a course I teach for 14 weeks, so it's not that easy.
Very impressed anyway.
Okay, so maybe you've already given a piece of answer, but what inspired the writing of the characters, and do they go through situations that are common in the society you're portraying?
Yes, absolutely. This method will not be able to work for a film with aliens. So it's deeply rooted in reality. And because we react to things and we understand things based on the cultural and social context of them, right? You will understand things differently and I will understand those things differently. For example, it's truly, you can ask Lelia, truly I don't know what a good croissant means. I don't know. Yes, but I don't know. I asked her to take me to have a good croissant because I don't know. There's a lot of croissants, but what someone needs to teach you. French person, maybe someone that has a boulangerie, what a good croissant is, you know? Whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. You can choose to not like a good croissant, but there are rules, right? There's a context for things. And so this is why it's very, very important that people understand those rules of society and come from this background. Now, what doesn't matter is if they agree with those rules or not. The instinct that the characters have is something I plant. They don't have to bring it. I'll give you an example. Most of the characters in the film, they're not what they are in reality. Quite the opposite. Even the characters that are like, I don't know, very, very not in terms of the personality, but let's say against what Fifi does, they're not like this in reality. But this is an instinct that I plant through those role plays that we do. But obviously, it's a necessity to understand how things operate, right? Even in terms of traditions. Tradition as simple as like, I don't know, how do you drink coffee in Palestinian society? How do you serve coffee? Because if someone doesn't get it or doesn't do it right, then it's like, why is this guy not serving coffee the way it's supposed to be served? What's wrong with him, right?
I have a question with like more fun, less
Fun.
deep. It's like, do you have any anecdotes or memorable moments during the shoot?
Yes. I have a lot of stories. The main story is that we started shooting in 3 days. It's not fun, yeah, but 3 days after we started shooting in 2020, 3.5 days, we had the lockdown. So yeah, that wasn't that fun, no. But there was, a moment that my brother, who is my main producer, it was during breakfast, comes to me and he says like, "Can we have a word?" And I say, "Yeah." And he said, "Yeah, outside." So it was very, very stressful. And then my other brother joins, and I go like, "What happened?" I was terrified. I thought something happened with our parents because my two brothers are my main producers. And then they told me like, "Listen, there's a yeah, it's family, yeah." And they told me, "Listen, there's a lot." They announced a lockdown. I said, "What does it mean?" That's it. They're shutting down everything. We have to shut down the film. And I said, "Well, what do we do now?" And it was like, "We stop, but someone needs to tell the cast and crew." And there was a moment where they wanted me to say it, and I couldn't, So that was a very memorable moment. So how do I say to everybody, "See you later," we're going for a lockdown. But yeah, there were a lot of also happy moments. One great anecdote is, but he will kill me if I say it, is that we were shooting and there was this cooking and eating scene, and the crew, us, the camera people and me, and we're starving already because we smell the meat and the barbecue and the whatever we had there. And at some moment, and because I shoot real time, so sometimes shooting is like 4 hours, and we just change cards as we go. And then on my monitor, I see the camera going like this, tilting, and there's a hand going into the frame, grabbing food from the table, taking it. The camera tilts back, and then because we had a microphone on the camera, I hear the camera person was eating because he was starving already, filming for 4 hours, people cooking and eating. So that was a funny, funny thing. No, it wasn't in the movie, obviously. Yeah. It was cut out. I wouldn't put a hand in the film. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing this moment. And you told us about your brother. So, is Haifa the city you were living in, or why did you choose the city in general?
No, I'm originally from Jaffa, which is 100 kilometers south from Haifa. I lived in Haifa for 4 years when I was a student. I was an engineering student in Haifa. I actually lived a little bit more than 4 years. But I chose Haifa because it has this class that you see of Palestinians, this like almost bourgeois that exists there. The society there is much more educated than Jaffa, richer, I would say. And I didn't want to link, the issues that we're talking about, patriarchy, to, the middle or lower middle class. I didn't want to do this economic link. It's not that because you have less privilege money-wise that you have this mentality. No, it's across the board. Everybody has this mentality. And in order to isolate it, I chose to work with this class, and this class exists in Haifa. And also there's a lot of promotion for the city as the city of shared life and coexistence, when in fact it's super, super, super segregated, in all walks of life. Most of the relationships that exist there are, in businesses. Everything else is fragmented, academia, schools, obviously there's only one bilingual school, and all the rest are like either Palestinians or Israeli.
Okay, so your film has a strong political context rooted in reality, and you chose fiction to tell this reality. What do you think is the strength of fiction compared to a more documentary-like approach?
That's a brilliant question, and there's a lot that was written about it. There's a lot of discussion still, going on. Why a lot of times fiction is stronger than documentary in its impact, right? And whether it's political or mostly emotional impact. There are many, many theories. I try to test it myself and see how a real life, situation can impact you less than an immersive, visual situation. I did it not really with film, but with VR. I took people to a dog shelter where you have 750 dogs that were like, in a big shelter with a lot of noise, and it's difficult to watch it. And then I did the same thing with having people watch the dog shelter in a VR experience, which is visual. And through questions that I asked, I wanted to test their empathy. And in VR, they had higher empathy, higher than reality even. And I think it has to do with this idea that in fiction, back in your head, it's fiction. And if you're protected, if you want, you can say, yeah, but it's fiction. So you let yourself, immerse in it completely, 100%. And in documentary, there's no escape. You can't escape it. And you have to face yourself. And you judge yourself based on what you feel. In fiction, you don't judge yourself. It's like you feel, So I think this is the power of fiction. Although if you ask me, I watch mostly documentaries. Most of the films, I would say 80% of the films I would watch are documentaries. Sometimes, just people I'm interested in. The last one I watched is a Bruce Lee. I don't know if you watched it. It's a simple documentary, but it opens up a lot of, shows you a side of this person that you didn't know existed. And I'm trying also to make my film feel a little bit, I don't know, like a documentary.
To me, it's the first time I've seen a Palestinian movie, and you talked about the patriarchy that exists in here. So I was wondering, you focuses heavily on female characters. Why did you decide to open it from Rami's point of view?
From the female's point of
Yeah,
view.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that usually, the oppressed, they pass this oppression on to the next, in the food chain. Let's put it this way. And for me, it's very interesting that in my society, usually it's the women that are maintaining, and they're the guardians of patriarchy. Which, when you first look at it, it doesn't make sense. Wait a second, you're suffering from patriarchy. Why are you, keeping it, promoting it, and using it against your own daughters, right? And it has to do with how people in general internalize oppression. How we, little by little, we normalize it. It becomes us. It becomes how we live, how we operate in this life. And it has many, many reasons. Some reasons that are psychological, because human beings, we need to convince ourselves that we're good, that we're having a good life, right? So part of it is a way to convince yourself that this is okay. And if it's okay for me, I want it also for the people I love, because it's okay. Okay? And then the other reason is more rational, less emotional and psychological. It has to do with society itself. Society is even stronger than the mother, right? Stronger than anyone. And it regulates itself by, a system of punishment and reward. So it rewards whoever, does what is expected of them, and punishes who doesn't. And the guardians of society, mothers and fathers, everybody basically, and in this case the mothers, they don't want their daughters to be hurt. They don't want their daughters to be punished. So they want them to avoid mistakes, quote unquote, that they can do. And this is why, it becomes oppressive. And it's a vicious cycle that never ends.
We now have more technical questions, like you chose to shoot particularly close to the actors' faces. Could you just tell us more about the directorial choice?
Yes, I wanted to create some kind of a, claustrophobic, tight, closed world for each character, in a way trying to be with them as much as possible, very close to them, but also feel how they're suffocated. And even when we open up, and we open up a lot of time, not a lot of time, not too many times in the film, it's always violent. If we open up when Rami's talking on the phone, then there's this loud train that comes with a lot of violence and noise. And if even Fifi is on the beach and you think that it's going to be like, a moment of breathing, then the waves crash in. I don't know if you remember, and it's pretty loud. And even at the end, with this big scene where it's the widest, shot that we had in the film, we kept it till the end. Also, there's some kind of a violence in it. There's this, loud thing that I won't give away that happens. And even if she's composed and clearly knows what she's doing, she's quiet inside for the first time, but everything around her is really loud. So this is what I wanted to do. And I wanted also to not pollute, if you can say, we can say it, visually, because you can have a single, so it's like a frame with one person, and you can pollute it with another person, just feeling them. And I tried to avoid this as much as possible and to really create separation between people. Maybe in the beginning, if you watch the film again, you will see that a lot of time we open a conversation between two people where we see that they're connected over the shoulder shots, and little by little it becomes separated. And most of the conversations are like this. People are locked. Most of the conversation between people that have different point of views, let's say Miri and Shirley, start with them being inside each other's frame, and then little by little they get separated. And towards the end, whether it's a wider shot or not, they're alone.
We also noticed that you often filmed through windows, separations, obstacles between the subject and the camera. Is there a particular reason why?
Yes, it's as you said, it's the separation, it's the obstacles, it's the confined spaces of people that are, physically mixing, but in their mentality, they're like years apart from each other. And when they're together, they behave as expected of them, but everybody has their own, secret, and elsewhere they're a different person. So we wanted to achieve this. We wanted, we worked through mirrors, we worked through obstacles, we worked through a lot of things, just not to give sometimes a direct, view on someone through someone else's perspective.
We are quite used to movies with images accompanied by music, but in these movies there is only a few music. So why?
Yeah. So in this film there's no non-diegetic music at all. All the music that you see comes from the film. Okay, so there's no composed music that comes on top of the film. All the music you hear is from the film. Call it diegetic. So I don't know, the music that we hear when Rami goes to the coffee shop coffee shop or whatever, it's from the coffee shop. The music that that we hear when Miri is driving is from the radio of the car. So every music is coming from the word inside. And for me, it's a style I use also in Ajami that has to do with zero manipulations from outside the uniqueness of the drama that is happening right now. And if there is music, it's the music that is actually happening. They're cooking and there's music and the mother is singing. It was real music that was there, and the mother is singing the music that is in the background. So this is the idea: is to keep it as real as possible. That's for me. Some documentaries they have score, composed music, but I think I like it that everything is diegetic.
So we personally loved the movie, but we were wondering if it had also been shown in Israeli, and if so, how was it received?
It was a blockbuster. No. Yeah, it was million views. No, it was shown in Israel in May. Unfortunately, only for 3 weeks, because you remember then Israel attacked Iran, and then everything was shut down, including cinemas. I was personally in 2 screenings that went really, really well. I would say that the vast majority of the crowd were Palestinians, but the reception was very, very good. A lot of people, I remember, said what is needed now is to watch it again, because it's a film that sometimes you need to watch again. But the discussions I had were less about, cinema. Nobody asked about why do you use so many close-ups, and nobody asked about the music. It was mostly related to the cultural things we talked about, and questions about what should we do. So it's not questions about why did you do it like this in the film. I mean, it's clear to those people. It's like, so what do you think is next for us? And my answers were, less about prescribing solutions, but more trying to bring it back and open up the discussions to maybe we should try to understand why is this happening. And a big part of the solution is just this awareness that now we know why things are happening this way.
I have another question about this. When it was a Fifi, she was going to the club with a friend. You shot in the streets in the town. So were they actors too? I mean the Jews, the Israelis we have seen that were doing celebration. Were they also actors or
Non-actors.
no?
No, they were part of this organization. Yeah, I don't have actors in the film. There's 0 actors. Yeah, but they are the real people that do this, and we had their permission, obviously, to shoot them, because you cannot shoot people without a permission. So they need to sign a release form, it's called. And yeah, they agreed. They're not. They're proud of this. They're not trying to hide what they're doing. For them, it was a promotional thing, I guess. I don't know. And it was easy. I didn't go myself to ask their permission. We sent someone, but yeah. So, and the way I work, because I don't give a screenplay to the actors. So Fifi and her friend, they didn't know that they're going to be there. And we just told them, walk straight. And they knew where the club was, basically, because we took them there. It's there. Just walk straight and you get there to the club. And they walked and they saw this. And it just froze. And this is the scene there. And they froze, and I filmed them and I filmed them and I filmed them, but they froze forever. At some point they had to go in and say, walk. Just cross here. It's like, what do we do? Just cross. And then the guys did what they usually do. They give flyers and stuff. Yeah. And they took it, and then it was beautiful because she looked at it and she threw it in the garbage. And the camera woman, she picked it up, she filmed it, and it was how the scene ended. Yeah.
Very nice. And last question. We heard that you're working on a new project, and can you tell us what this film will be about?
Yes. It's a new hybrid documentary project. It's called A Childhood, and it's about child imprisonment in Palestine. The law in Israel allows Palestinian children, as young as 12-year-olds, to be put in jail. And it's under a different system of law. Israel has two law systems. So one for Palestinians in the West Bank and one for the others. And also the one for the others is segregated between Palestinians inside, 48 and the others with laws. But in the West Bank, it's a martial law. It's like a military court. So if you're persecuted in the military court. So the film is about all those children that were, kidnapped from home and arrested in the middle of the night. And usually their parents, they film it with their mobile phone. So I got a lot of this footage. And then when they're released, usually it's like after a few days, sometimes more, there's an NGO that collects testimonies of what has happened to them. And I reenact it with animation. So it's a hybrid film with, this footage and animation. And it follows the 4 stages of childhood.
Okay. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was very happy to have this chat with you. Thank you. And now...